it's a business to build Paddy and make him easy fights. But I hope Justin gonna kick his, and we're gonna forget about Paddy all our life.
His words cut through the room like a blade. Elbow him all day, all night. Arman Tsarukyan declared war on Paddy Pimblett, promising a brutal, bloody fight. No quick finish, no choke, just a relentless barrage of elbows meant to leave permanent marks. This wasn't a threat, but a chilling promise to make Paddy's face bleed and mark his legacy. The lightweight division just got personal, with a vengeful contender ready to step in.
Not gonna drink, party, gonna train, dedicate himself, be focused. It's his last chance in this life. He was fighting for the title maybe 5 times. So this is his chance, and the end of his career, win the interim title, fight for the real title, and then retire. That's the best for him. And I'm gonna, Justin, if you need the help, let me know. I'll fly to you and help you.
Arman's fury didn't end there. He openly backed Justin Gaethje, sending a direct warning to Paddy. Arman criticized what he saw as the UFC giving Paddy easy fights, and he pledged to help Gaethje train for the showdown. It wasn't just about winning. It was about erasing Paddy from the conversation altogether. The stakes just got higher, fueled by real animosity.
Even when I fought with Hooker, I was thinking, what should I do when I was on the top? Should I choke him, or I just should elbow him? And I just speak, okay, no problem. Let's finish this fight. But with Paddy, I'm not gonna for the choke. I'm gonna just elbow him all day, all night. Just make his face like bleeding.
The catalysts for this chaos? Dana White's bombshell announcement. Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim lightweight title. This wasn't the matchup anyone expected, but with champion Ilia Topuria stepping aside, the division's landscape fractured. The winner won't just get the interim belt, they'll secure the next shot at Topuria himself.
You just saw Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett for the interim title. Earlier, Topuria posted, I'm dealing with some personal problems, so I'm not gonna fight the first quarter. So the winner of Gaethje versus Paddy will be the interim title, and then they will face Topuria.
Why an interim title at all? Topuria dropped a cryptic tweet about dealing with personal issues and wouldn't fight in the first quarter of the year. His sudden withdrawal raised questions about what was really going on, setting the stage for this polarizing title fight.
I think that this is a very valid reason not to fight. We have seen people fight with things on their mind. There's too much at stake. There's too much at stake right now in his career. He is too big of a star to go in there, compromise, not 100%. His heart elsewhere, his mind elsewhere. And so I think that what he is doing is the mature, it is the professional thing to do, and it's the smart thing to do for his career, for his brand, for himself.
Ariel Helwani offered his take on Topuria's withdrawal, calling his reasons valid. He emphasized the danger of competing with your mind elsewhere in such a high-stakes title fight. With Topuria's growing star power, Helwani argued that stepping into the octagon while distracted would be too risky for his career and brand. It was a decision rooted in self-preservation, not cowardice. Charles Oliveira couldn't resist a calculated jab. He tweeted directly at Paddy, urging him to win his next fight with his hands up and chin down. But the real sting came next. A dancing clip aimed directly at Arman Tsarukyan. It was a clear public taunt, sparking mixed reactions. Some fans loved it as part of the fight promotion, while others saw it as unnecessary drama. Oliveira's message was clear. He's watching, and he's not afraid to stir the pot. When asked if he'd back up the interim title fight, Arman was firm. No way, unless they pay me well. He made it clear that he wouldn't step in as a backup without significant compensation, but stayed ready behind the scenes. Arman was willing to take risks, but only on his own terms, demanding respect for his value. Arman then turned his attention to Justin Gaethje, offering critical advice for his upcoming clash with Paddy. No partying, no distractions, just full focus. Arman sees this as Gaethje's last shot at UFC gold after failed attempts against Khabib and Oliveira. His entire career might hinge on this one fight, and the pressure is on Gaethje to stay disciplined and deliver.
Paddy and Justin?
No way. Unless if they pay good money, I'm not gonna be backup. But I'm gonna train just in case if something happen before 2-3 weeks, so I can jump in. I gotta take the risk.
Michael Bisping weighed in, acknowledging that while Ilia Topuria versus Paddy would have been a great storyline, the Gaethje versus Paddy fight is still brutal. He reminded fans that Gaethje, despite a recent setback against Max Holloway, remains a human highlight reel with insane power and relentless pressure. Bisping's analysis made it clear. Paddy faces a legitimate threat.
And for Justin Gaethje, this is the final go. This is the final crack of the whip. The man's had 2 title fights in the past, Charles Oliveira to Khabib Nurmagomedov, and now he gets to go up against Paddy.
Weighed in as a backup fighter, which sucks. Yeah, they pay you, but it sucks. You have to cut weight, not even knowing if you're going to actually fight. So he did that. Backup fighter. Doesn't get the call, but may weight. Show the UFC that he's a company guy. He's going to do what he can to make things right. Then he goes on and he fights again. Defends his #1 spot. Beats Dan Hooker and gets a finish. Then, I want to say, a week later. Almost a week later. I'm sure if he had the opportunity to fight for the interim title between Paddy Pimblett or Justin Gaethje, he would have done it. Unless we're all completely mistaken and he said, no, I won't even want to fight for the title, or that's it. And that's against Ilia.
Bisping surprisingly gave Paddy significant credit for his last performance, where he dominated Michael Chandler. He praised Paddy for making Chandler, a tough opponent who'd gone to war with Justin Gaethje and Charles Oliveira, look utterly vulnerable. Bisping pointed out that Paddy has an undefeated UFC record, highlighting how he made a seasoned fighter like Chandler look so weak. This praise from a respected veteran forced many to reconsider their view of Paddy.
So last time against Michael Chandler, he is the real deal. He absolutely smoked him. He's undefeated in the UFC. He put a beating on Michael Chandler. And let's remember, Chandler went toe-to-toe with Gaethje, gave Dustin Poirier a good run, knocked out Dan Hooker. So it's not like he's a bum. Yes, he hasn't been winning fights. We all know that.
Bisping broke down the monumental implications for Paddy if he wins the interim belt. A victory would not only put him in the #1 contender spot, but also add another UK champion to the growing list, elevating his national hero status. For Paddy, this fight is a chance to prove his elite status, validate his hype, and carve out a lasting legacy in the UFC.
Basically means the #1 contender. But if Paddy can pull it off, unbelievable. That'll be 4 champs, 2 interims and 2 legit, well 3 legit now with Tom being promoted from the UK that have become champions.
Bisping also revealed a stunning physical transformation for Paddy. He recently saw him looking sharper than ever, lean, shredded, and in the best shape of his life. The playful moniker, Paddy the Fatty, no longer applies. Paddy has clearly dedicated himself to a new level of conditioning, and this dramatic change challenges past criticisms, suggesting a more serious, disciplined fighter is emerging.
But Paddy made it look different. He beat the living hell out of him. Simple as that. And I knew he had something coming up because last week when I saw him in Qatar, the man was playing paddle, right? Like a paddler, bro. He had his shirt off in the sun. He was glistening. He had the six-pack. He looked great. We all call him Paddy the Fatty, right? Well, he isn't fat right now. The man looked to be in the...
For Justin Gaethje, this fight represents his final chance for redemption after failed title attempts against Khabib and Oliveira. It's his ultimate shot at UFC gold, and his career is hanging by a thread. The stakes couldn't be higher. This is Gaethje's last chance to capture the title and secure his place among the UFC greats.
Said I wanted to see Paddy fight for the belt. God bless. I said, Justin, I think you need to win a couple more. He said he was going to retire. Unless he got a title fight, I guess he's not retiring. He's fighting for an interim title. But this is a bogus fight. And it's insane to me that it is headlining over Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. On paper, Paddy versus Justin, if Paddy wasn't fighting Ilya and Ilya's supposed to fight Arman, on paper, Paddy versus Justin is a fine fight to determine the number one contender to fight Ilya and or Arman. Ilya won that belt back in June. I don't even think you need an interim title fight. Honestly, it should have been the co-main event, 5-round, number one contender fight, Ilya versus Arman, second half of the year.
Now, Justin Gaethje had said, listen, I'm not going to continue fighting unless I get a title shot. I guess he kind of gets what he wants there as far as he gets an interim shot, right? He was like, I'm going to retire if you don't give me a shot at the belt. And then you have Paddy Pimblett, who, I'll be honest, yes, I did want to see fight Ilya Topuria because they have the rivalry, because it goes back for so long, because I think it would be a fun build to a fight. But when you look at Paddy's record, you have him beating Gordon, old man Tony Ferguson, old man Bobby Green, and then Michael Chandler. You fight who's in front of you, so I guess you can't really blame Paddy for that, but it's like, how does that offer you a number one contenders fight without fighting someone in the top 5?
Aljamain Sterling passionately argued that Arman Tsarukyan earned his number one contender spot the hard way. He detailed Arman's grueling path, taking the Islam Makhachev fight, getting injured, then stepping in as a backup and making weight just to stay in the UFC's good graces. Sterling pointed to Arman's dominant finish of Dan Hooker as proof of his readiness. Arman's commitment to the process should have secured him his shot, yet the system seems to be failing him.
I think Arman would have taken the fight. That's just what I would think. It's not too bad of a turnaround. And on top of that, he just won, got a finish, didn't take a lot of damage. Don't know how hard the training camp was, but didn't take a lot of damage. It sucks to see that.
What does Arman Tsarukyan have to do to get a shot at the belt now? I know he had the fight back in January. He got hurt. Sue the guy. He sat patiently. He went out there. He steamrolled right through Dan Hooker. He did exactly what he had to do. He did what Khamzat and Islam did not do. He finished his opponent on the ground in dominant, impressive fashion. And now what is he? Now he's just floating in the wind. And he's not even next, apparently. Now, of course, everything could change. Nothing really means anything. They make up the rules as they go along. But to put Justin and Paddy in the interim title slot and then have the winner of that fight Ilya is insane to me. And worse than that, because we have seen interim title fights that have felt a little fugazi. I cannot believe that they are headlining this card with that fight.
This is tough for Arman. Okay, he's probably going to have to fight someone else. He said he would be on this card. I don't know if they then called him and he said, no, I can't be on that card, and that's why they've done this. If that's what comes out from this, I guess it could be a bit more understandable, because otherwise it would have been Nunes Harrison to main event, and we just can't have that. We just can't have that. But this is insane. Gaethje versus Pimblett is an absolutely insane fight.
So not only, obviously the interim title is there for a reason, but not only are you going to get Paddy the Baddy versus Gaethje for the interim, but they're automatically going to get the title shot versus Ilya, which double makes this the stupidest interim title fight you could have at lightweight. Because one man is not involved. Where the hell is Arman Tsarukyan? This is the rightful number one contender. at 155, and he is nowhere to be found in the plans for a title shot at 155. It makes no sense. Dana's not going to explain why, because he doesn't have to, because the UFC, again, is trending further and further away from a sport and further toward WWE.
Despite validating Topuria's personal reasons, Helwani blasted the concept of the interim title. He pointed out that Topuria only won his title in June, making the creation of an interim belt seem unnecessary. Gaethje versus Paddy would have been fine as a #1 contender fight without the added, arguably bogus, interim status. Helwani questioned why this fight was being prioritized over other highly anticipated bouts like Kayla Harrison versus Amanda Nunes. He criticized the UFC for making decisions based on narrative over merit, leaving fans frustrated and confused. The interim title situation only added to the growing sense of injustice for deserving contenders like Arman Tsarukyan.
Now it's your turn. What do you think about the chaos surrounding the lightweight division? Is the interim title fight justified? Or is Arman Tsarukyan being unfairly sidelined? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell for more updates.